Right, welcome everyone to this how-to video about finding out about your energy use. For this video, we're going to be talking about kilowatt hours, so your annual kWh, and we're referencing your energy use at school. So for most of you, that's electricity and gas, and for some of you, that'll be other fossil fuels. So the first question is, what would be the benefit of knowing these kilowatt hours that your school's energy use refers to? First and foremost, annual kilowatt hours can be compared year on year. So regardless of what's happening with energy costs and prices changing over time, you can compare. You can also then take that annual kilowatt hours figure and create other benchmarks. For example, your kilowatt hours per pupil or student at the school or per square meter of area. Secondly, total kilowatt hours can be used for forecasting and budgeting as energy costs change. So for example, if you know your annual energy use from last year and you've been given several price options, you can calculate what the cost implications of those would be in advance. Thirdly, actions that reduce energy use are expressed in kilowatt hours. So for example, if you're looking into getting solar photovoltaic panels, these can be expressed as a kilowatt hours savings per year. And so you can look at that against your annual kilowatt hours usage. Finally, I think it's worth mentioning that carbon and greenhouse gases associated with electricity, gas, and other fossil fuels can also be calculated. So a carbon footprint can be calculated, but only using kilowatt hours. So where can you find your annual kilowatt hours for your school? Well, in addition to checking with the admin staff who may already know this, there are several routes. Gas and electricity bills will have they'll be based on meter readings, and they'll be expressed in the bills depending on how many bills you get per year, often one per month, 12 months, you might be getting quarterly. So if you can get hold of these bills, you're looking for 2 meter readings approximately 12 months apart that you can calculate your energy use from. Secondly, another route would be to go to the meters themselves, gas and electricity meters. Some schools have multiple meters, so this can be a complicated process, but you can record the meter readings. And generally, if you can get monthly meter readings, that can be incredibly useful detail as well. Thirdly, some meters record their readings automatically, and they may be sending those just to your electricity or gas suppliers, but they also, you might be using a third party who will aggregate these meter readings. For example, there are online systems such as Stark, Zenergy, and others that you can use. And these can be checked online, logged into, and there may be annual and other figures there. Finally, if you can't find any other data and you're a county maintained school, the county council does monitor annual energy use. There may be some time lag between the data they have of a few months and your actual use, but it can be a good starting point if you've got no other source. Right, let's move on to if you do manage to get hold of your energy bills, what you can then do with those. So electricity bills and indeed other bills are based on meter readings. And sometimes there'll be a letter beside the meter readings, A for an automatic meter reading, C for a customer reading, that's one you or someone at your school will have sent in, and E for estimated readings. Ideally, you will ignore estimated readings because they tend to be inaccurate, although sometimes it may be the only readings that you have. So you have to have a look through all of the bills that you can get hold of to see where actual or customer readings are. Another note is that your meter profile administration number or profile number, I'll show you an example in a second, will have different classifications. These are roughly based on size. And any school that has an electricity profile of 05 to 00 means that the data is being collected and logged by the half hour. And if you can get access to these through your supplier, you can find out annual and much more detailed energy use quite easily. This is an example of, and you'll see these on electricity bills, of what meter profile numbers look like. And the first 2 digits that are circled there is the profile type or class. 01 and 2 are for domestic properties, 03 to 00 are for non-domestic, and you can find out what you've got there. For gas meters, one important difference between electricity meters is the numbers on the meter are not kilowatt hours. They are either cubic meters or cubic feet. And you can convert these yourself online, or you'll find that on your bills they have been converted. It's probably also worth checking that your bills units, whether feet or meters, match what the actual meters are showing. Finally, for those of you who are on fuel oil, LPG, or other fossil fuels that are not metered, you'll have to have a look at your invoices for liters or other measurements of what you've been sent. And you can look online for how to calculate kilowatt hours from an annual figure for that. Right, so let's say you finally get your annual kilowatt hours. What good are they? Well, there are lots of different uses, but we'll talk about two here. For starters, you can apply carbon, CO2, or carbon equivalent, and that's CO2 in considering the other greenhouse gases, as coefficients from the government, UK government website. So just Google the coefficients. There's an Excel spreadsheet of the condensed set of data, as I believe we're up to 2022 now. Here's an example of how you would then make a calculation from kilowatt hours. So this is natural gas of 394,560 kilowatt hours per year. You find on the spreadsheet the carbon equivalent for natural gas. It is 0.18254. Note that it's kilograms in this case per CO2e. You multiply the two together, getting the figure below, divided by 1,000 to express it in a much smaller number as tons of CO2 per year. This is commonly how carbon footprinting is done. Quite useful as a student activity as well. Secondly, another good use of your kilowatt hours is to conduct an out of hours survey. So this is actually looking around the school when there's no major energy use going on, usually at the end of a working day. And if the people conducting the survey take a meter reading at the beginning, gas and electricity in most cases, and then look for items to switch off that don't need to be on, and then take another reading the next working morning. So if it's on a weekday, the next morning, they can calculate the number of kilowatts per hour use in between. And it sets a baseline of really useful information. And also, hopefully, if you continue to switch things off, will help you make savings. So that's a quick run through of what can be done with kilowatt hours. Here's a quick summary of the actions that you might want to now take in your school. Find out your kilowatt hours per year for electricity and gas or other fossil fuels. Ideally, the last 3 years of data, and then check and see what they're looking like. Have the total figures gone up or down? And has that reflected what you've been trying to achieve in the school in terms of energy saving? Secondly, are the energy bills that you have including too many estimated readings? And if so, do you have any capacity to put in actual meter readings to send to your suppliers so there's more accuracy there? Finally, or second to last, sorry, you can calculate your carbon from electricity and gas or other fossil fuels by taking the kilowatt hours. You just need those coefficients from the government website. And you can also conduct an out of hours survey. In future how-to videos, we'll go into some of these concepts in more detail, but hopefully that's enough to get you going. You can find out more at the ACES website at the address on the screen, and you can also contact us if you have any questions through the website, and we're happy to help. Thank you for listening.